I want to specifically talk about a specific one that I think needs to get completely reworked. And I'm talking about slash backpack here. Hopefully that gets changed. Please. Thank you. Okay, what you just saw was me a week ago saying that I want behavior to change slash backpack. And I guess behavior did, but not really in the way I was imagining. So with that being said, let's ignore that and we'll get to that later. I tried the public test build a bit and I have a lot to say about it. So this is a video where I will be talking about all of my feedback, and it's mostly directed towards behavior to serve towards a possible future where we could get Unknown pushed into a direction that makes this character more consistent, but also more fair and fun for everyone. So I have a lot to talk about, and I have it branched up into a lot of sections. We will talk about every single change that we have gotten on the PTV, and I will also try and give some feedback or options of ways we could do a little bit better, you know? So let's just introduce our very first thing, and let's just talk about all of the changes together. Okay, honestly, it's not as horrendous as you would think. I was a little explosive on Twitter. That's just because I'm passionate, and when I see things that go wrong, it's just I react strongly. So many people think because of the way I reacted that I hate these changes and that I think it was bad and I think it nerfs Unknown. For the most part, I don't think that, but I do think that these changes had some problems. And what I'll say is I think that this public test build, and particularly the Unknown changes, it really just missed the mark. You know what I mean? So for the very first thing I want to talk about the new feature where Unknown can now look all the way up. The vertical camera axis for Unknown is unlocked now. Before, you could only look so far up, and while this would make orbitals a little easier and muscle memory for a lot of people, ultimately what this camera lock did was it would make it so you'd have to do this weird shimmy move. Not only that, there are also lots of maps, Midwich is a great example. There are a lot of maps where you can't look fully up. You were unable to. So there were some shots you wouldn't even be able to do. Let's say you wanted to hit someone from the ceiling through the floor. You can't look all the way up, so you have to kind of move your character in such a weird way to just try and aim at exactly the specific spot you want. So this change will actually help this a lot, and it's great. Other than that, looking up is game changing. This gives you a lot of new opportunities and a lot of new shots and potential you can do. I think Unknown needed this. This is huge. I understand that it's going to be a little difficult to get used to at first, but from what I played of the PTV, which was only a couple hours, I was already starting to get decent with it. It will take a little bit to get back into the swing of how to play, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. I love it. And it actually doesn't make Unknown quite as difficult as I thought it would, which is the point I'm trying to make here. It might take you a little bit to lean in and adjust to the change, but it's actually so nice and you will do just fine. Genuinely, you shouldn't have a problem for the most part. So how do I feel about looking up? It's fundamentally great. However, I do have a little bit of criticism with it. In my opinion, while looking up is great, and I'm so happy we have this, the UVX projectile is just so slow that it's really hard to take advantage of sometimes. So you know this funny little thing where you just aim all the way up and you shoot on the other side of a tile, or you shoot through the wall and you force a survivor to walk into it and explode on top of them? This takes forever. It's really hard to do. It's cool, it's interesting, and it certainly will work sometimes. But in my opinion, one of the biggest flaws of Unknown is just how hard it is to hit survivors from far away. Overall, being able to look up is great, and I'm very happy we have this. This is seriously one of the best changes Unknown has ever gotten, ever. And also, you can't look fully down. All this does is it allows you to look up. So if any survivor still tries to run into you to dodge UVX, they still can, which is something to take note of here. Alright, up next, we got a teleport speed recovery buff, and it's like 0.1 second or something like that. Cool. No one really asked for this, but it's cool. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. It's nice to have, you know? All right, next, I do want to talk about the weekend refresh adjustment. All right, to give a little bit of background info for anyone who doesn't know, when you weaken a survivor for the first time, it lasts 10 seconds. For the survivor to get rid of this weaken, they have to stare at you with their camera, and they have a 1.25 second buffer window where if they look away, the weaken will continue to dissipate. And then if they look back, it'll activate the buffer window again. Many people think that when you injure someone with the weaken on the current live version of the game, it fully refreshes the bar, but that is just not true. So on the live version right now, it refreshes about 6 seconds. And what this means is that if you were to hit someone at, let's say, 20 to 30%, give or take, and refill their weaken, you would not have enough time for your power's cooldown to refresh and to allow you to re-injure the survivor. So they would just break free out of weaken for free. So what Behavior did with this update is they changed it from 6 seconds to 8, which is still very needed and great. I'm very happy this was addressed. This seemed like a really weird thing that not many people knew about. So I'm very happy to see this addressed, even if it's just in a small way. But personally, I just don't understand why it doesn't fully refill the weaken bar. I feel like that would just make the character a lot better, and it doesn't even have to change like the really annoying parts like weaken buffer. I think this weaken refresh adjustment is very well intentioned, and I can tell Behavior knows that this is a problem, but I still think it misses the mark. If the weaken reveal buffer stays at 1.25 seconds, I just don't understand why it doesn't fully refill the weaken bar. Because you are effectively being punished for injuring someone. Because the initial timer is a little bit longer, why does the next hit give you less time? That just doesn't make sense to me. What I would do to change this is I would either make it 10 seconds or maybe do a little bit over the 100% cap. An alternative thing we could do here is adjust weaken buffer a bit to be a little less lenient. I understand that controller players need to have it accessible, so I'm not asking for it to go crazily down to like 0.25 seconds. But I would love to see weaken reveal buffer be a little less strict against the unknown. All right, next we have the add-on changes, which is a real doozy. This is particularly what I have been upset about with, so I have a lot to talk about. All right, the very first thing, Vanishing Box, the elephant in the room. To many, this add-on is one of the most controversial add-ons for this killer, and I understand why, because it's very frustrating, and I understand why it's getting nerfed twice. This add-on is arguably the most popular unknown add-on. It's been said by so many players that it's the best add-on, and this was before it got its original nerf that put it at 80% extra hallucination spawn time. So Box to this day is still popular. Whenever I go against an unknown, I can usually tell if they're newer to playing unknown if they're running Vanishing Box, because a lot of people just still run it. Vanishing Box is inherently controversial and annoying, but I don't understand why we're already killing it. So for context, the nerfed version of Vanishing Box that we have on the live build right now makes it so it takes about 80 seconds to spawn a hallucination when no survivors are weakened. With this new increase to the hallucination spawn delay, it actually will take 99 seconds to spawn a single hallucination when no survivors are weakened. That's crazy. 99 seconds. Alright. In my opinion, this add-on is not good. 99 seconds is crazy. If you ever play against good survivors and you're running this, you will not have hallucinations for most of the game. Like, you'll have none, basically. I think Vanishing Box getting nerfed twice just proves that it is controversial. In my opinion, if this add-on is unhealthy, instead of nerfing it multiple times, I just think we need an entire rework for this add-on. Alright, we're finally at the second elephant in the room, Slash Backpack, which I briefly talked about previously. This add-on is going to be the death of me, I swear. Let me give a bit of background info for anyone that doesn't know what this add-on does. This add-on allows you to fire at a hallucination and destroy it to replace that hallucination in a different spot. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to move your hallucination and put it somewhere else. Now, Behavior did a thing. They made it so it refills your hallucination spawn bar to 75%, and they switched it to 65. So this is, in quotes, a nerf. I will arguably say it isn't a nerf, but the reason this is controversial is because this add-on is just bad. In this demo, I have footage where I show if your hallucination is very close to being spawned and you fire and break a hallucination with weaken, it will not give you enough time to tap your M2 and replace it where you want. I believe this is the reason they are addressing this add-on and making it 65%, which I think is a good, well-intentioned reason. However, I want to talk about why this add-on is bad. So, you can also see here, I have very close to a hallucination spawning. In fact, it's about 80%. I destroy this hallucination, and then it resets and it spawns a new hallucination over the one I reset. However, you know that one that I've been charging up that is about to spawn before this? All of that progress is just gone. So, you are effectively losing hallucinations every time you use this add-on. Always. Like, why? This add-on is so bad. I have no idea why anyone uses it. In my opinion, this add-on could be fixed if they made it so you could queue multiple hallucinations to spawn at once, or make it so your hallucination spawn timer stays persistent. Or they could rework this add-on and have it potentially be used as a chase add-on, where you could have hallucinations explode and, let's say, injure or weaken survivors nearby it. In my opinion, Slash Backpack could be so much more, but right now, all it does is make you spawn less hallucinations, and it puts you on cooldown and slows you down. Another way they could change Slash Backpack effectively without even reworking the add-on is they could change Unknown's power to let you tap it while it's on cooldown, sort of like how artists can prepare birds when their power is on cooldown. Yeah, in my opinion, Slash Backpack, this add-on needs to go back to the drawing board. We need some sort of change to make it better, because genuinely all this add-on does is just make you lose time, and I'm just gonna keep talking about it until people start to learn this, because I see a lot of people use this. Alright, Blurry Photo, our next and final elephant in the room, in quotes. In my opinion, Blurry Photo already got a nerf in the previous update, and I've always thought Blurry Photo isn't even worth running. But it got a slight nerf again, so it's even more slower. Not by as much as you'd think. However, Blurry Photo's teleport recovery speed is still a little bit slower than the one on live. In my opinion, Blurry Photo is also another controversial add-on to a lot of people, and for good reason, as it really encourages players to M1 instead of using Unknown's UVX. Photo leaves people in a lot of lose-lose situations as a survivor. Generally, it's just not fun for a loop to be locked down, and you have very little options because the Unknown can just teleport on top of your hallucination with virtually no cooldown and still injure you. So in my opinion, this is how I would change Blurry Photo. I would completely rework the teleport mechanic, and for this I would change the teleport recovery speed to be based off your position to survivors. Therefore, if you teleport to a hallucination that is nearby a survivor, the teleport speed would be the current teleport speed right now. Otherwise, if your hallucination is nowhere near a survivor at all, let's say 8 or more meters, for an example, it would make the teleport speed the original Blurry Photo speed, which leads all the way back to the Unknown's launch. Not the current photo we have live, but the original Blurry Photo speed. And then I would rework Photo entirely. Now, the reason I would do this is, in my opinion, one of the most fun parts about Unknown to me is lining up different shots. So you teleport to a hallucination, and then you line up a shot on someone who's unsuspecting of it. So what this would do is it would let you do this more, and it encourages you to go for these type of lineups, and it also disincentivizes you from just using the hallucinations as a way to trick survivors and chase. There are a lot of ways to play around hallucinations without teleporting and chase, and I find that mind game of, is the Unknown gonna teleport or not, super engaging. So I would hope that by doing this, it would encourage more macro-styled gameplay without using the hallucinations exclusively for M1 chases. And then next, I want to talk about the other add-on changes, which are all number buffs. And this isn't even bad. It just doesn't really fix Unknown's add-ons barely doing anything. At the end of the day, one of the reasons Vanishing Box and Blurry Photo are so popular is because almost all of Unknown's add-ons are status effects, or they are very hard to see the impact of running them. So for a lot of people, it's not even worth running them. In my opinion, I think in the future, I would be fine if we don't get this now, but I think Unknown definitely needs an add-on pass. And while I think, in my opinion, all of these changes we have gotten for Unknown and the add-ons have good intentions and good reasons, I think it just misses the mark. So in the future, I would love to see an add-on pass for the Unknown, and I'm fine with this being a sort of transitionary period where we kind of understand how much these mini buffs will be able to improve the character slowly. We can always get more Unknown changes in the future, so I do think we have a lot to come for the Unknown, and I'm excited to see what we get out of it. So overall, I want to talk about all the changes together once again. The Unknown changes overall are kind of a nothing burger. While we have being able to look up, it's great. Everything else kind of just does very little. And while it does address minor pain points with the character, it doesn't really address how weak Unknown is versus decent players. Therefore, if we were to get these changes and nothing else, with some minor adjustments, I will still be satisfied because it is better, because it does address some pain points, and I understand that if Behavior wants to use this update as a test, and they can see if Unknown needs anything more in the future. I hope that this feedback is helpful and it gives a bit more of a detailed explanation for why I find this update so confusing. And I'll say I think that Behavior is listening and understands Unknown a lot more than their prior public test build where they got changes, as what they did back then is they tried to nerf M2 tapping on the ground, and that was extremely controversial to a lot of players, and it just made no sense. So I think Behavior understands the Unknown a lot more than they used to, and that's great. I also think most of the player base understand Unknown a lot more too. So it's great to see the evolution of this character in only about a year's time, mind you. It's crazy. I was one of the very first people to ask for Behavior to remove Unknown's camera lock, and they actually did. That's crazy. I'm genuinely shocked about this. Thank you to everyone who believed in me. Overall, I'll say I'm very happy that we even got Unknown changes in the first place. I was under the impression that if we were to get any, it would have been Q4 of this year, minimum. So I was very shocked when I saw that dev update and I saw Unknown on it. So I'm actually pretty happy. However, there are also so many other killers that also need looks at in the future. For example, we have Trickster in whatever state they're in. I have some friends who play Trickster, and I feel so bad for them because that killer is just, there's so little going on for Trickster. And we also have Skull Merchant, which is just basically non-existent. I have been playing this game pretty regularly, and I have only seen one Skull Merchant after the Skull Merchant got nerfed. So to say that people have stopped playing Skull Merchant after that nerf is very true, at least under my impression. So I'll finalize this by saying I think that Behavior overall had super good intentions with these changes. However, they missed the mark, and this update only addresses a few minor problems with the kit. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied, but I'm also just confused. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I understand that I have a little bit of a bias here as an Unknown one trick, so I do welcome all criticism. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.